questions. Before we start with the questions, I want us also to quickly look here. The A stands for assets. Assets increase on the debit side and they decrease on the credit side. And then equity increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. And then liability increases on the credit side and decreases here on the debit side. This we will show whenever I put a plus here, it will mean a decrease or increase in either the asset, equity, or liability. So the first question that we have for today is Tom buys a car for cash. The value of the car is 50,000 Rand. So the question we need to ask is what is happening and how is it happening, and what is Tom doing? Tom is buying a car, and how is he buying the car? He's buying the car cash. So the question becomes what is the car? Is it asset, equity, or liability? Remember when we defined asset, we said assets are what we own, equity is what we have, and liability is what we owe. So the car is something that we will own as a company, which means it's going to be a plus 50,000 for our assets, because now our assets are also increasing. And also the question would be, where is the money coming out from? The money is coming out from the bank because they say it's cash, which means also our assets will decrease again by 50,000 Rand because money is coming out of the bank, and bank is also part of assets, as we said, non-current assets, and there will be no effect on equity and no effect on liabilities. And that is how we will record the first one. So it's a plus minus on assets, and if we look at the equation, plus 50,000 minus 50,000 gives us 0, which means 0 equals to 0 plus 0. Our accounting equation is balancing. And the second question is, Jack bought a laptop on credit for 7,000 Rand. So what is happening here? Jack is buying a laptop, and how is he buying the laptop? He's buying the laptop on credit for 7,000 Rand. And a laptop is something that we own, which is an asset, and Jack is buying it using credit, which is a liability to us. It's something that we will owe, which means our liabilities will increase by 7,000, and there will be no effect on our equity. And now let's check if the equation balances. Plus 7,000 is equal to 0 plus 7,000. Yes, it balances. So our accounting equation should always balance. The left side should always equal the right side. And then looking at question number 3. Question number 3 is Eric bought a house, paid 100,000 Rand cash, and the balance on credit, and the value of the house is 350. And now we need to do the maths here to say if he bought for cash here, the balance here becomes 250,000, which is what he will take a loan or a bond for. So what is Eric doing? He's acquiring an asset, and the value of the asset is 350,000 Rand. And which means that now we need to ensure that this equation does balance. And we are also told here that he paid, which means money came out, which is minus from the bank, which is 100,000 Rand. And we are also told that he took out a loan of 250,000 Rand when we did our calculations, which forms part of the value of the house. So, and nothing happens to equity. So now let's check if our accounting equation balances. Plus 350 minus 100,000 will give us 250,000. And nothing happens to equity, and we have 250,000 here. So asset is 250,000 plus 0 plus 250,000, which means our accounting equation is balancing. And then now looking at the last question, Mr. Nash paid employees wages 100,000. So I am paying my employees cash, and I am using a check. I am paying them using a check, which means money 100,000 Rand for my employees will leave the bank account, and then also my what I have in equity will decrease by 100,000 Rand. Let's just add another one, number 5 here, which will say that I received money for something that I sold in a business. When I receive money, it's going to be plus 10,000, and it's going to be plus 10,000 here. And this, ladies, is an example we can use for the accounting equation, and I'm hoping that you will watch the video again and it will make sense to you. And it's very important to understand what assets are, where they increase or decrease, what owner's equity is, where it increases and decreases, and what liabilities is, and where it increases or decreases, so that when you put it in your equation, you are able to to put everything and the effect. So it's very important to understand the accounting equation. Later on, I will be sending voice notes explaining the different types of definitions that we need to understand when dealing with accounting, because these terminologies you will need a lot to understand what is happening here with accounting. Hope that the video was useful, and hopefully you've learned something when it comes to the accounting equation. Asset equals to owner's equity plus liability. Thank you.